So today we're just talking about the power of the spoken word. Now, you guys all know that spoken word comes first from thought, right? You're not speaking something without having the thought first. Although some people might say, "Oh, I spoke without thinking," but there really had to be the thought that initially came in before the words were spoken. So if we go all the way back in the Bible, not that that is necessarily applicable, but right at the start, it is saying, that God spoke. He spoke and created the heavens of the earth. So in the beginning, he created the heavens of the earth. God said, let there be light, and there was light. So this all begins in the mind, in our thought, in our consciousness. And then when it's spoken, we're creating these things. So I know personally for myself, any of the really bad things. So I've got one thing in mind here that I'm thinking about. I know that the day that I actually spoke this thing out loud, and it was a negative thing, it was something bad, it was saying, this is probably going to happen, or you're probably going to do this, was in fact the day that it happened. So we can do these really bad things to ourselves just by saying, oh, I bet that this person is going to do this, and I bet that they're going to do that. And as soon as you speak it, as soon as you say it, you've created it, and you're going to have to deal with the consequences of it. So the good thing about this is, because this is a really good thing, is that we can speak and we can create better things for ourselves just by being very intentional with our words and being very intentional with our thoughts. So when I was younger, I think that this was about in grade 7. I'm kind of guessing here, but in grade 7 or 8. So I'm at my farm with a couple of my friends, and we decided we were going to go canoeing because right beside, but almost through the yard, is this creek that would go by. So we decided we're going to go canoeing, and we're going to paddle up to the bridge, which really isn't that far away. So we get in the canoe and we get out just like a little ways, and it is so windy. It's crazy. And, it's me and 2 friends, and we were not strong enough to paddle through this wind. We were accomplishing absolutely nothing. So now me and these 2 friends of mine all went to youth group together. I had always been a very spiritual person, and I knew because, I was told if you just pray for something that it'll happen. And so because I believed this, because I had no reason not to believe that, I said to the girls, I said, okay, guys, we just need to pray that the wind will stop, and it'll stop. And of course, they looked at me like I was a little bit crazy, but, I'm used to that. And I said, no, for real, let's just pray, and then the wind will stop. And so I said, you guys pray, I'll pray last. Let's do this. And they were like, okay. So, they prayed like, okay, God, please stop the wind. Thanks. Whatever it was that they said. So then I prayed at the end, something very similar along the lines of like, thank you for stopping the wind. And immediately, the wind just went dead. It just completely stopped. And they were kind of like, oh, wow, this is crazy that this is happening. I didn't think it was crazy. I thought that it was amazing, but I was expecting it to happen. Now, in this situation, there was a couple things that happened. So first of all, there was belief with no doubt. I just knew, if we asked, if you ask for things, you'll get them. Second of all, there was several of us there. So, they say where 2 or more come together in my name, there I'm with them. And third, we spoke it out loud. This wasn't something that we just thought and was like, oh, if we just do this, whatever. No, we spoke it out loud. We created it. And so as soon as the wind stopped, we started paddling up to the bridge. And I remember saying, when I was praying, saying, we just need the wind to stop so that we can get up to the bridge. So as we're paddling, as soon as we got up to where the bridge was, which was, probably took us a few minutes to get up there. As soon as we got up there and we were going to dock our boat over on the side, the wind immediately picked up again. So we got what we asked for. We didn't say, stop the wind for the whole day, do this and do that. We just needed something and prayed and believed that it would be, and it was. So I have seen so many things like this now in my life. Since that time, there would be, I'd be looking for something and getting really frustrated. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but you've just been looking for something, you know it's somewhere and you just can't find it. And so I would be like, oh, right, I just need to pray about this. And I would stop and I would pray about it, and then I would find it. Or I know one time, so I've had people that, see this about me because I talk about it, and I'll say, oh, this cool thing happened, we spoke this and then this happened, and they're like, oh, cool. Okay. I need you to do this for me. And so there was another time when I was with my sister, and her husband had been working on his motorcycle, couldn't get it to start, couldn't figure it out. And he'd been working on it for hours. And she's like, hey, can you just pray? Because I know that when you do, things happen, and I just want it to start. And we had been out there forever, and I was like, oh, sure. Yeah. So prayed, and then it started just like that. So there is massive amounts of power in the spoken word with belief, that when you speak something and you believe it with no doubt, it will surely come. So in the Bible, there was, and I know I talk about the Bible a lot, and I am not, I know that it was written by men. I know that it was written with an agenda in mind. And I know that it was written with a lot of old beliefs attached to it, especially in the New Testament, that were not the true message that we're supposed to come across, because even Jesus said, greater things than I have done will you do. And who do you know that can claim that? So he came here to teach us what he was doing. That's what he came here to teach us, was how he was healing people. He came here to teach us how to do that. And that is not the message that comes across in the Bible. So when I do give references to the Bible, I'm just kind of giving it for reference, because lots of people, know some of the stories that are in there. And as I refer to this, it might give you new meaning behind the words that you heard before. So in the Bible, he spoke about the mustard seed and saying, oh, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed. So what he was actually saying was not faith the size of a mustard seed, because faith can't be a size. It either exists and you have it, or you don't have it. You can't say, oh, I have faith, but still have doubt, and say or claim that that's faith. You can't. If there's doubt there, you have doubt. So he was saying, if you have doubt the size of a mustard seed, then you do not have faith. Now, I'm positive that you've experienced that in your life, that you're like, oh, I really, really, believe this thing and I want it to happen. But then there's this little inkling inside of you, just this little feeling of doubt that comes in, that creeps in. And that doubt would be powerful enough that it would make you not want to speak something out loud, because you don't want to, say something and then have it not happen if you really believe something. So when you do really believe something and you are so certain of it that you're able to actually speak it, then you are creating it in your life. So that's something really good to keep in mind, because doubt destroys us. It destroys all of the good and all of the love that is there and available, because what doubt really is saying is that I don't trust in the divine, that I don't trust that I will be taken care of and cared for, that I don't trust that what I ask for I will receive. And this doubt may have become very strong and powerful in you over the years, because as we, let's say pray and say, oh, I really want this thing, and then it doesn't happen, that increases our doubt, that we're like, well, I asked for this and it never came. And so then that doubt becomes stronger and stronger. Now, notice how I said it becomes stronger and stronger. It becomes stronger because it was present when you were asking for that thing. But there's another proponent to this, that if you're asking for something, let's say something really specific, and that thing is not going to be good for you. You might think it's good for you. You might be like, oh, I really want this to happen. Well, flash forward in your life a year from that time, and you might want something completely different and be thinking, oh, I'm so glad that that thing didn't happen. So one thing that we can do, I believed for a long time that, we're just praying and asking for the things that we want. But when we pray and we ask and we believe for the things that we need, and we don't even need to know what those things are, then the circumstances and the outcomes that you get are so much better, because you're not going to be asking for something that you want and then getting it and then being like, oh, I didn't actually want this. Let me just give an example of that if that's not clear. Let's say that there is a job that you really want and you're like, oh, I really want this job. And you end up getting it. Well, in a year's time or however long, you might find out that it's not really what you wanted. And, maybe the people or the circumstances or the job itself isn't filling up your heart and making your soul sing. If you pray and say, I want this part of my life to be fulfilled, and then you just send out a joyful thanks. So this is just a belief with no doubt. When you have a belief with no doubt, it is just joyful. So when you send out that thanks, that of course you're going to receive something wonderful, something even better than you could have ever imagined, then that is what you get instead. And that thing that you then get will be in perfect alignment with you and what it is that you really need. We are making our choices in life. We are day to day, through our thoughts, we are taking actions and we're making choices and we're believing in things, and therefore we end up speaking them and we end up creating them. So when you kind of shift from, I'm just going to create this thing here and this thing here and this thing here, and I think that this is, going to fulfill me and do what I need. Of course, yes, work on things, start creating things and live your life the way that you want. But if there's something so specific that you're saying, this, I need exactly this, maybe that thing is divinely inspired and maybe you do need exactly that. But when you pray and you ask and you say, I want this or something better, or I want something that's going to make me feel like this or something better, then you're putting the divine in charge and you're going to get back that or something even better. You're not putting limits on it, because as soon as you decide this is exactly what I need, you've put a limit on it, and you could have something so much more amazing than that. So I know Esther Hicks' teachings, she talks a lot about vibration and what you're creating in your life through how you're feeling and how you're thinking. And that is true. It is all very, very, very true that how you think, how you feel is that that vibration that you have is what is going to bring other things that have that same energetic vibration into your life. But when you're so specific and you are demanding these very specific things, then you are taking complete control of it. And you might think, oh, that's a good thing, because these are the things that I want. But when you give the divine control of it, then it will be better. So kind of think of it like this, that, you're a parent and your child is like, but I really want this, I need this thing. And you can see, that there's something that would be better for them, and something that would be healthier for them, something that in the long term would really benefit them, would make them happier, would make them healthier, and would just be so much more fulfilling in their life. It's similar to that, right? Sometimes we demand things and we say, oh, I want this and I want it right now. But it's not necessarily going to be something that's going to be beneficial for us a year from now or 2 years from now or in the long run. So it's more about trusting that we will be taken care of, and just continuously sending out a joyful thanks for that. Just sending out this thankfulness of thank you that all these good and wonderful things are coming into my life. And, one component of that is also being thankful for the things that have happened in your life that were not so great, that didn't feel so great. Because I've seen now, and it's difficult if you're going through something right now. I 1,000,000% get it. It is difficult. It is difficult to see how this could possibly be a good thing. I get it. I'm with you there. I feel it. But on the outside of that, because you'll get through it, you will get through it. You have before, you will again. Once you get through it, you see all of the goodness that came from that situation, whatever it was that you had to go through. You needed to then heal some things inside of you, not just because of that particular situation, but there was things attached to that you needed to heal in the first place, that you now are forced to do because you're in such an uncomfortable position, and you need to make it better. And so you do. And so you become stronger and stronger. I know my life, man, I've been through it. And I see now how, I created these things through belief, through fear, through karma. This is just so many things. And so now that I'm aware of this, and even before this, I became very, very thankful for all of those things that I went through. I used to have them make me feel bad about myself, that those things that I had gone through, it's like, oh, well, that takes away from me, from who I am. But now I don't see that at all. I see it's such a good thing, because it made me who I am today. And had I not had the experiences that I had, I wouldn't be able to help my clients like I help my clients. I wouldn't have the compassion and the understanding for people who are in similar situations to what I used to be. I probably would have judged people rather than accepted them. But I see it so clearly now, that whatever vibration you're in, that is the world that you're living in, because so are the people that you surround yourself with, also in that same vibration. So you're going to have similar experiences come over and over and over and over again, because of the people that you surround yourself with, and the actions that you're taking, and the choices that you're making. And they all originate from your thoughts, from your thinking. And as you heal these things in your life, the things that have happened in your past that have kept you in this lower vibrational state. So I know some people don't, understand what I'm saying when I say energy. So if you think about something that makes you feel bad, let something come to your mind. I want you to notice how it sucks the energy out of your body. It depletes you. It depletes your physical energy, and it immediately makes you not feel good, and it immediately makes you not want to do anything. It just it is a feeling of, I'm stuck in this spot. Now, if you think about something that makes you feel good, something that brings you happiness or joy, or even just something that's really beautiful, or cute or adorable, like think about puppies and rainbows and beautiful things like that, you can then feel your energy start to uplift. So this is the energy I'm talking about. So that uplifted energy, when you're in that state, in that energy state, the things that are around you begin to vibrate in that same state. So people will vibrate themselves right into your life. They will come into your life and they'll find you. And it works both ways. It works when you're in the low state, and it works when you're in the high state. So it's very important to be intentional. We can create for ourselves heaven or hell, and it all has to do with our thinking. When you can notice how, if you just did that exercise a moment ago, where you think something negative and you feel that energy depletion in your body, and then you think something positive or something just really good or something that, brings joy to your soul, how it completely changes the way that you feel instantly. It's instant. It's not that this takes, 20 minutes for your thought to change the way you feel. It happens in an instant. Now, the thing about it is, what we think, that feeling, the energy that we're emitting, we send it out, and through the law of cause and effect, Jesus called it reaping and sowing. You reap what you sow. You get it back. So when you're sending out that good high vibrational energy, you get it back. Have you ever noticed, let's say that you had a day and you were kind of having a bad day. Maybe you left the house and you were stressed out. Well, what happens when you go and you get in your car? Your seatbelt gets stuck. Why doesn't that happen on the good days? It doesn't. It doesn't happen on the good days unless you have some belief that your seatbelt gets stuck all the time. Then maybe you'll experience that. But it happens on those bad days, doesn't it? You notice that. And that is one of those signs that shows you how quickly you get back what you put out. Now, you'll also notice that when you're having an awesome day, let's say that you're just having a good day, you're feeling happy, you might even be feeling social, and you're going out, the people that you encounter also feel that way. Those are the people that come into your environment, that come into your life on those days. So what happens when you continuously make the intention of relieving yourself of those lower vibrational energies, and you consciously, intentionally choose to live in that higher vibrational state? You get more and more of those experiences. Now, if you're in that lower state, this might seem like a lot of work to you. It might seem like a lot of work to feel happy. I've been there. I completely understand. But good things do take effort, The good things do take some time and some effort. So the best way to relieve yourself from that lower energy, the one that depletes you and sucks the life out of you, is to heal your past. So this is to heal the subconscious mind, to heal the things in the past. This is why I made that the mental cleanse series, so that you can go through each of those and relieve these things from yourself. Sometimes we think like, oh, this is not an issue for me. I have clients tell me all the time, all the time that the things that came up in their session, they had no idea were still impacting them. That they either didn't even remember it, or they remembered it but didn't think it was significant, or whatever it happened to be. But once that thing is healed, they immediately physically feel lighter. You immediately physically can breathe in deeper. And I believe it's because you're no longer carrying around that burden, that heavy energy that your subconscious mind was just hanging on to. And we recreate our past over and over through the expectations that we have because of what happened in our past. So let's say that we get into a new relationship, and the old relationship was abusive or bad, or you were betrayed. You will, because of the past, immediately start looking for similar things. And by looking for them, and by focusing on them, and by having that negative, lower vibrational energy from the past still attached in the future, you will recreate it. So I will have clients that have had multiple abusive relationships, typically, not always. It can even start in childhood, that they were, abused then. And so then they go on to continuous things of, this was how I was treated before, so this is how I'm treated now, and this is how I'll be treated in the future. And until these things are subconsciously healed, because you can't talk it out and heal it. You just cannot. You have to make these changes in the subconscious mind. You have to. And as you make those changes, and you can do these things for yourself, the subconscious mind is pictures and images. So meditating, in that state, in a deep meditative state, you can create these changes for yourself. But as we heal these things in our subconscious mind, and so as we're healing them, so that is an example, let's say abusive relationships, there would have been a couple of things that would have been involved in this. So there would have been beliefs about yourself, that you're not valuable or worthy or good enough, because you would never stay in a situation once it has passed that level of, oh, I'm more valuable than that, then you'll leave. So whatever you're putting up with, you believe subconsciously that you deserve it. Now, I will tell you, you do not deserve it. You do not. But if you believe that you do, then you'll continue to subject yourself to it. And you'll think, oh, this is as good as it gets. It's never going to get any better. Who else would ever want me or find me, or this is my lot in life, or whatever it happens to be. All of those thoughts, just notice how low the energy is in them. Very low, very depleting. It is actually taking away from the energy that you are meant to have. So when we heal these things, so these beliefs, when we change the beliefs that we have to more truthful beliefs, and I always use this test every single time when we're in a session, I will have them, my client relieve themselves of that old belief and then feel what this new belief feels like of I'm worthy, or I'm valuable, or I'm important, or I'm good enough, or whatever it happens to be. And as they feel that belief, I ask them, what does it feel like? And it feels like freedom. And I say, you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's the test that I always use. Does this feeling that you're feeling feel like freedom? And it's always a yes. And then I will say, does this feeling feel more like you than that old feeling? And it's always a yes. Because we know at a deep subconscious level, and we intuitively know, that we're not meant to feel horrible. That, if we're feeling horrible, it has a purpose. It's about learning It's about personal and spiritual growth, but it's not because those things are true. Anything that we think becomes true to us. Anything that we think becomes true. We will prove it to ourselves by saying, I have this one belief. Then you start looking for it, and you're going to find it, and you're going to prove it true to yourself. Whether it's actually true in reality or not, it does not actually matter. It will become true to you, and you will manifest things in your life that prove that truth to you. So it is so important to heal these beliefs and these things that you have about yourself. Like here's one example. I know that I've had some clients that will tell me, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 would be good, 1 is very low, that their confidence is maybe only at a 5. And when I have them boost that confidence up and feel better about themselves, I have had some people say, I don't want to take it all the way up to a 10 because that would make me cocky and would make me however. And it's not true. Being cocky makes you cocky. Being confident just means that you accept yourself as you are, and it also means that you love yourself. And when you're really confident, you'll take really good care of yourself. You'll show yourself kindness, and things like that. And so when we have that confidence inside of ourselves, and we truly know, I'm valuable. I deserve to be treated like I am valuable. When we have those beliefs inside of ourselves, our energy, that vibration, just goes way up, because then we are looking for proofs of that. And when we look for proofs of that, we will find them. And then people will come into your life that'll prove this to you. Things in your environment will begin to change that prove this to you. But like I said at the start, it's having faith with no doubt. So when you start to believe these things about yourself, this is where the effort, this is where the work comes in, that you need to remind yourself until you get to that point. Once you've healed everything in you, and I'm telling you, this took me years. It took me years. I had a lot of stuff that I needed to work through. And it's, like layers. And even still, something will come up. Let's say I'll get a text from somebody that I have to deal with in my past, and I can just immediately feel that energy just depleted, and it might throw me off for a little bit. But I know because I've seen the results. I've seen it. I know that this is fact from not only my enlightening experience that I had, but just day to day, the things that I feel, that I see, that I'm choosing, I can see that this is facts, that what you're thinking and what you're feeling, it really matters. So if I get that text, I just got to take a minute, and I got to realign myself with that high vibrational energy. Now, I'll tell you one more thing about this high vibrational energy. It is, it's just pure love. So there is fear and there is love. And if you're living in fear in any area, so even if you believe that you're not valuable, there's a fear, that you're not valuable. You're living in the fear. When you're living in that fear, it will deplete your energy. It will just take everything away from you. And when you're living in the love, it just gives to you, and it fills you up, and it higher that vibration. So what, I've been doing, this is a really good and helpful exercise. If you have someone that, you get that text from them and immediately your energy just is gone, you can just imagine that person. So you just, go into kind of a meditative state. And by that, I mean, close your eyes and just relax. Take the outside world away from you for just a minute. And then imagine that person, and just imagine filling that person up with heavenly love. Now, as you do that, not only are you creating really good karma for yourself, through the law of cause and effect, you're putting out something good, but you doing that for them gives them a positive benefit, and it immediately also gives you a positive benefit that you can actually feel, and you can feel it immediately. So there's one really good way that you can help with that. Now, I know that if you happen to be stuck in a situation right now, or if you're stressed and you don't know what to do, one thing you can do is just relieve yourself of that stress by actually visually imagining yourself letting it go. So let's say that you're stressed, you would just close your eyes. You would imagine that stress in your body, perhaps being a certain color, maybe a certain size, a certain shape, a certain smell, a certain color, a certain texture, whatever. And then just visually, just imagining this, just imagine breathing it out and breathing it out and breathing it out until that's all gone out of your body and you just feel calm. And then once that calm feeling is there, you would then just imagine breathing in that feeling of calm and peace and love as a beautiful white light inside of your body. And as you do this, you will just notice the energy inside of you begin to change. Now, that old way of thinking, that the stuckness feeling, or if you happen to be stuck in a negative mindset or something like that, is very addicting. And by addicting, I mean your brain just wants to keep doing the same things over and over. It just likes to repeat the same thing. Why? Because you're alive and it's like, okay, perfect, I'm doing a good job, you're alive. It doesn't care about how you feel, but you need to. This is why we have free will. This is why we were given free will, so that we can choose what it is that we're focusing on, so we can choose and create for ourselves either heaven or hell. So as you change the focus that you have and you change it to love, you then are creating something so much better, so much more meaningful in your life. Now, sometimes when you do this, the results are instantaneous. Like, I am talking immediately. It will immediately make you feel better. But to become addicted to this new way of being, you need to continually, while you're starting out this practice, continually remind yourself that what you're thinking about really does matter. And now, I'm not saying push away all of those negative thoughts. I believe that they need to be dealt with, or else you're just stuffing them, and it's not going to help you in any way. So you need to deal with them. But this doesn't mean that you need to sit there for days and weeks and months and years and deal with them. It means you need to find a better way to do things. So if you have some type of really, stressful negative thought that you've got going on, deal with it. You can use the Mental Cleanse series and those videos that are there. It actually walks you through it. It will walk you through, let's feel this, let's take it back to here, let's heal this, let's relieve ourselves of that, so that those deep traumas, I call them traumas because anything that kind of leaves an emotional scar or an imprint in your subconscious, it probably wasn't a good thing. If you're going back to deal with it, as we heal those things, then we create so much more space in our energy, so much more space, and we can use that energy for whatever it is that we want. So when you continually remind yourself that what I'm thinking matters, because thoughts lead to actions, they lead to choices, and they lead to words. And choosing those words carefully and wisely, knowing that what you send out will come back in all facets. That's why it's so important not to gossip. Do you want that to come back to you? Probably not. Do you want somebody to do that to you? Probably not. So when you think about what it is that you're sending out, once you start to really realize that and you start to only send out good, only goodness, that's what you're going to get back. So as you begin to change this way of thinking and you really catch yourself, if you're, in a lower vibrational state, catch yourself. deal with whatever happens to be there. If this is a choice that you need to make, if there's some kind of choice that needs to be made, visualize yourself with several different outcomes. How does it feel when I do this? How does it feel if it ends up like this? How does it feel if it ends up like this? If you need to make a choice, you can pray, and you can just pray that the absolute best and most wonderful choice will become clear in your mind. And as you believe that and you send that out with no doubt, that clarity will surely come to you. Just send it out with a joyful thanks of, thank you, by this date I will have the clarity that I need, and truly believe it with no doubt, and that will be the result that you'll get. You will get that clarity that you need. So this is enough of my rambling here for today. I hope you guys all have a wonderful and amazing day. Don't forget to send out that heavenly love to anybody that pops in your mind today. I like to walk around and just have that beautiful light, that white light emitting from my body, and just imagining everything that I'm touching. I'm putting that beautiful love light into everything, into my environment, to my surroundings, to all the people that I meet. If I'm driving down the street, I'm seeing this light touching everything that is touching. And by doing that, we're giving like the angels are giving with a loving thought, and we're sending out so much goodness. And through the law of cause and effect, you're going to get so much good back into your life. So I love you guys all so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this. And I will see you guys very soon in the next one. Take care.